evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Skip E Lowe Looks at Hollywood. We have with us tonight one of America's most gifted performers and comedy writers, funny lady Renee Taylor. And joining her this evening is her actor son, Gabriel Bologna. And now, the man of the half hour, Skip E Lowe.
Renee.
Yeah.
Bonsoir. New York. Good God. How many years ago? I mean, Barbra Streisand. Tell me about that.
20 years ago.
20?
She was the singer and I was the comedian on the bill. And we were both very poor, and we shared a pair of stockings. When I came off, I would take off my stockings and give them to her.
It was a wonderful show. Get It Wholesale. She was doubling, wasn't she? Doing the show, and then at night... You were doing stand-up comedy?
Yeah, I was a stand-up comedian.
Writing all your own material? Tell me about Renee Taylor. Where are you really from, originally?
I'm from the Bronx. And then I moved to Miami. And then I went to Jamaica High. And then I went to the Village.
That's where you started comedy? When did you actually...
I was in a show with Elaine May directed called
Right.
The Third Ear, an improvisational show. And I worked with her. And then I was on the Paar Show, and I did a nightclub act, a one-woman show. That sort of started me.
Blue Angel. Did you work that?
Yeah.
Tell me about
great.
this.
Those days were great.
Really?
And what was that other club that had jazz? It was on 7th Avenue downtown. It became a jazz club. Miles Davis used to.
Yeah, I can't remember it. I know which one you're talking about, yeah.
The Blue Note? Is it?
Hey, that's your son over there. Is that your son, Renee?
Yeah, that's my boy.
Hey, he's Beverly Hills High?
Yeah.
And how old are you?
I am 17.
And Gabriel.
Emancipated.
It's Gabriel Bologna.
Yes, Bologna.
Your father is Joe Bologna? It's tough to be, tell me, is it tough to be a son of Joe Bologna and Renee Taylor? Tell me.
No, it's more comical than tough.
What do you mean by that? More comical? A lot of jokes around the house, or what?
Too many jokes. Sometimes you get scared how many jokes. You want to lock yourself up in the room. You want privacy. I come home and my mom's jumping on the trampoline, which she does an hour worth of trampoline jumping a day on the phone with her agents, while the trainer's there, while the dog is running around on the pink, while we're having people walking in and out, and my dad reciting monologues all over the place. It's like, I love quietness.
So it's a lot of fun to be around that house then. Tell me something. When did you first come out to California, Renee?
I came out here when he was 3 years old, and we put him in kindergarten in El Rodeo. We rented Greta Garbo's house.
I know, I heard about that.
And then we rented Jack Benny's house, and now we're living in Shirley Temple's house.
Wow. My God. But I understand you had a lot of fun at Garble's house when you first went in. You had like 25 people living there with you people?
It was great.
Really?
Yeah.
25? Really?
Yeah.
You mean just all your friends from New York and
all my friends
actors
and relatives, they still come now.
Italians, Jews, it's like
Yeah.
Italian
One night,
strudel.
recently, we counted about 17 people. People come out here with their kids and their dogs to go to Disneyland. They knock at our door and they say they have no place to stay, so we take them in.
I see.
And we put blankets over the window in Beverly Hills so nobody will report us.
A lot of people out there don't know Renee Taylor, Jack Paar, Merv Griffith, those days. Tell me about the days of Jack. You were on the Jack Paar Show.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Jack Paar days. I mean, that was really a good show.
Well, to tell you the truth, I was having trouble getting work as an actress, so then I decided, okay, I'll become a comedian. As a dramatic actress.
Is that what happened to Renee Taylor?
Yeah, it was.
You were an actress
I was a dramatic actress, and it was hard to get work, so I said, all right, I'll do comedy. Then when that wasn't working, I said, okay, I'll go back to drama. Wherever there was an opening, that was where I would go.
But you know something? Comedians are great dramatic actors and actresses, but that's not the reverse, you know. That's
I think
the truth.
so.
You think so? No, a good comic becomes they're very good in dramatic worlds.
Oh, yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
See, that's what happened with you.
But, you know, I like to bring comedy even to dramatic parts. I like to bring humor, too. I mean, Shirley Booth had that. There aren't many actresses like that anymore. Shirley Booth, you know, when she did Comeback Little Sheba, how funny she was and also so touching. She had that double thing all the time.
But you've done some wonderful movies, Renee. I mean, really, some wonderful parts. Detective. Frank Sinatra. Tell me about him, working with him, and that movie.
My knees were shaking the whole time I was working with him. I was just
Renee Taylor's knees were shaking?
Yeah, I was so thrilled to be with him. That I could hardly move. I could hardly talk. I was so excited to be with him. You know who else I feel that way about? Burt Lancaster. I love Burt Lancaster.
You did a film with him?
No.
You know, Renee Taylor, your son now is following your footsteps, your husband's footsteps. He's at Beverly Hills High and studying to be an actor.
And he's a natural. He is a natural.
Is he? I understand he's in a lot of plays at the Beverly Hills High School. And doing a lot of productions.
And I'm in awe of how it's like taking a bath on stage for him. He's so at home on the stage. It's
Does he
really
write comedy
great.
too? Does he do writing?
Yeah, I do comedy. We on cable we have a show. Beverly Hills High School has their own cable station.
Right.
Called After Prime Time. So what we did is we got together our own show, a comedy show called Harump, and we wrote the soundtrack, and it's like Saturday Night Live or stuff like that. And we acted out. It's a lot of fun.
Renee Taylor, Joe Bologna. How did you meet him? I mean, how did he come into your life?
Well, I was at the point in my life where I wanted to get married. And so I had a manager, and he said, I'm going to introduce you to somebody who you're going to have a comedy rapport with. And that was Joe. And as I met him, and as he was walking towards me, and I took his hand, I said, this is it. This is the man I'm going to marry.
And you got him right away? And you did get married right away?
We did. We got married about 6 months later. We got engaged 3 months later. And on the first date, I told him
you're going to marry him.
That I was going to marry him. And
he got very upset about that.
Yeah.
It's in your book. I remember reading it. What happened?
At first I said, I'm not going to see you again unless you're serious. And he said, well, I don't even know you. So why would I be serious? I said, yeah, but when you do know me, you're going to love me, and I want to know if then you're going to be serious.
I see.
But actually, he was waiting for me,
And then you become partners, writing?
Not until we were married for about 4 years did we start
did it take
writing
that long,
together.
really?
Yeah.
I see.
Because I was doing my own writing. He was busy producing and then directing. And I was writing, and I said, if you write with me, I'll put your name on it.
Some of the shows he wrote, who were some of the people he's written?
He wrote for Rip Taylor.
Did he write for Rip?
As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
when we were on our honeymoon, Rip sent him a telegram that said, send me gems.
Did he write for how cute? Did he really write for Rip Taylor? Isn't that strange? But you wrote some good shows too.
Yeah, together we did. We wrote a show for Marlo Thomas, Acts of Love and other comedies.
Got awards.
Yeah.
He did get an award.
We wrote Lovers and Other Strangers and Made
Lovers
for Each Other.
and Another Stranger. You don't rush that. Tell me about that.
Lovers and Other Strangers.
Tell me about it. That was
wonderful. I was pregnant with Gabriel, actually.
With him?
When we did that. And I was originally going to do all the parts in it, but in those days, you know, it was unheard of. Now, you know, people are doing it. Who's had the Mccray's mother? Sheila Mccray.
Sheila Mccray.
She's been going all over doing Lovers and Other Strangers, doing all the parts in that.
Arrived in Hollywood in
When?
74 here you came?
About 15 years ago.
15 years ago?
Yeah.
Your whole life changed?
Yeah.
From New York? I mean...
I have my fantasy here. I love the life here. I love the movies. I love the parties. I just love the life here.
You do like the glamour life in Hollywood.
I love it.
Better than New York? Renee?
Yeah. New York is a struggle and survival, and you know, I started out with a cold water flat, and I don't want that anymore.
Oh, I see. You rather prefer Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I love it.
You enjoyed the Beverly Hills. How big were you? You wrote a book.
I was a size 18, and now...
And let's see, size 18.
And now I am a 4.
You are
Can you
4?
see my waist?
Yes.
Wait, can you see my waist?
That's my mom.
Look at that way. My Lord, Renee Taylor.
Wait, can I stand her?
You could, just a little. Why not? Just here. Why not? Wow.
Okay. And look, my clothes are falling off me.
Beautiful, Renee. Just beautiful. You got a book called My Life on a Diet. Is this it?
Yes.
Right over here? And it's a... My God. Tell me about the book. What is this all about?
Well, actually,
it's your
it's
life.
a comic memoir told through what diet I was on, because all my life I've been a diet tramp. I went from one diet to another, and a diet tramp is a girl who eats around and is not faithful to any one diet. And I was on the Pritikin, the Scarsdale, the Boston Police diet, the Air Force diet, the Hollywood Emergency diet, and now this is the diet that I lost 40 pounds on.
What is this diet?
Well, it's... really crazy, but it's mono foods. Every day, you start on a Tuesday because nobody likes to start on a Monday. So on a Tuesday, you have fruit, and the next day you have pasta all day. Then you have vegetables all day, you have chicken all day, you have salad all day, fish all day, and then on the 7th day you get to have dessert all day. And you can lose 1 pound a day. Eileen Brennan told me she lost 14 pounds in 14 days. You can lose 14 pounds, 14 days, because it's structured chemically. I worked with a doctor on, you know, low fats and high complex carbohydrates, and it burns, and it's much easier to absorb and digest one kind of a food at a time.
Yes,
so that's the principle of the diet. And I have recipes in there, and I have, and then you rotate it on the 2nd week and on the 3rd week. And Joe was on it. He lost about 15 pounds on my diet. He's very thin now, too.
Is he really?
He loves eating desserts.
Are you on the diet
day.
also? Does he get on the diet? He doesn't need to.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what we did Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
No, he's always worried about his weight because, you know, he wants to be a movie star, and he lifts weights. On Thanksgiving, I ate turkey all day.
Right.
My husband ate pumpkin pie all day, and he had salad all day.
Isn't that nice? That's for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So you can keep it even on holidays.
I see. Tell me something, Renee. The book, is it selling?
Yes, it really
it's doing
is.
Really? Yeah.
It's sold 35,000 copies so far, and it's about to start a 2nd printing now.
But some of this stuff is in your life. There's a lot of life.
There's a lot of, well, it's also got 60 movie star diets. Every time I meet a beautiful woman, I always say to her, you know, what do you eat? And
she's got James Dean's diet in there, too.
What is James Dean diet? I want to know. He's dead, but what is his diet?
When I met him, he was,
Yeah, you did meet James.
Yeah. He took dried apricots and soaked it in water overnight. And then in the morning, he called it his golden blood. He would drink the water from the dried apricots.
Really? Did you meet him in New York?
Yeah, I did.
You met him in New York?
He came to Lee's class, and he saw me.
You started at Lee Strasberg's?
Yeah.
In New York?
I was with Lee for
Who are some of the people you were with? 8 years in New York?
Marilyn Monroe was in my class.
Yes,
I tell great stories about Marilyn.
Marilyn?
And did you know her?
Yes, I know. I met her very briefly, but I've had people on my show.
She had beautiful skin.
I hear.
And like a peach. And I said, what do you eat? What do you do to look that way? And she told me she was on the grape diet. That 1 day a week she did grapes. She would freeze them and eat them with the pits and all, green frozen. She would broil them for one meal, and she would eat them raw and even eat the stem.
Really?
And it flushes out all the toxins, and it really is great for even your eyes. And you'll lose weight on grapes once a week. Watermelon is like that, too. If you have watermelon all day long, 1 day a week, even eat the pits, and from the rind you can make juice. That's a cleansing diet, too.
Some of the stars you've met, like...
Oh, my idols.
Who's your idols?
Well, I loved Cary Grant. I loved Cary Grant. I worked with him. I was an extra in a picture that he did with Sophia Loren. And I was shocked to see him eating hot dogs.
This was in New York, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you were shocked because he was eating hot dogs?
Yeah, because I just thought he was a health food person.
I see.
I was surprised. Marlon Brando, he ate Indian food. And strangely enough, he ate it to lose weight. But you can still OD as a vegetarian, and he gained about 100 pounds.
I think you should give Brando this diet book. I think he needs it right now. I really think Brando should go on this diet. I understand he's quite heavy right now, and he loves to cook, and he eats a lot, you know.
Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty.
I have his diets in there. He nibbled about 6 times, but he gets a lot of exercise, so he works it out. You know, I even say that, you know, bad sex, you can work off more calories in bad sex than in good sex, because you try harder and you perspire more, particularly if it's with somebody that you love.
I see. Tell me, last of the hot
Red Hot
Lovers. Oh, tell me about
Alan
that.
Arkin. That was a lot of fun.
Wonderful. Oh, what a wonderful. Tell me about that.
I love doing that movie. I love that part.
Great movie. Great part for you. Just Renee Taylor. When I think of every time I hear that, I think of Renee Taylor. Everybody talks about her. Just a wonderful movie.
Thank you. We're about to do It Had to Be You now, the movie of our play. Yeah.
But you were at the Marilyn Monroe Theater about 7 months ago with your husband, with Joe Bologna. A wonderful play called
It Had to Be You.
It Had to Be You.
And now we're going to do a movie of it.
You're going to do the movie. But that was a great, great play.
It was great to do it at the Strasberg Theater because that's where I started with
the
Lee Strasberg class.
What kind of man was Lee Strasberg? This is in New York City, not here. You studied in New York. Tell me about Lee Strasberg.
He was just a genius. He was a genius. He could really look at you and tell you what your acting problems were, where your tension was, what it came from, what you had to do. And he was always right about everybody. And when he came to me, when he would tell me, you know, forget about feeling sorry for yourself on stage, that's not a good color for you. Just like some people can't wear red, you cannot bring self-pity to the stage. And I started to argue with him, but then I thought, well, how could he be right about everybody else and not right about me? So I listened to every word that he said. I hung on every word. And you know, when I'm acting, I still hear his voice telling me, relax the right shoulder, relax the mouth. I still hear his voice.
Is it difficult growing up in Beverly Hills, being a Beverly Hills high school boy and famous mother and father? Is it difficult?
Not really. So many kids who have famous parents, they look upon it as a burden, like they have to be a match to them. It's the drama to them.
Right.
But this is all a comedy. I mean, our life is a comedy. That's what basically the theme of our family is, just comedy. And if you don't take the rough stuff seriously, you know, it's a lot of fun. And even when you're living through the hard stuff, when we'd be going back and forth, because I've been to so many schools, and I was tri-coastal, whatever. It was
Who's some of your friends? I mean, famous star friends. Who are some of? There's so many in Brown.
I don't know. So many kids I know don't even say, because many of them are very modest and bashful. Like Richard Pryor's daughter, we're good friends. In fact, we met at the same age. My mom and Richard met.
Yes.
So we were like friends then, and we were in a band together as friends like that.
I wrote a joke for Richard about 20 years ago, and he still remembers the joke that I wrote him, which is the first man walking on the sun. That was my joke.
Oh, that was you wrote jokes for many very famous people.
I still do.
You still do? Joan? How about Joan?
No,
you don't
not
write
Joan.
for? Tell me about Joan Rivers. Difficult lady to be with?
Not at all. I was just on her show, and she was very loving.
Isn't she lovely?
Very
Why do people,
gracious.
I love her.
have no idea.
Why is she having problems?
I
Why?
have no idea. She was very generous to me, you know?
Yeah.
She let me be funny. She didn't compete with me.
I love
She was
Joan
very
Rivers.
generous.
I think she's brilliant. I really do.
I don't know. I think people are jealous.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
There's a lot of jealousy here in Hollywood, isn't there?
Well, I haven't, you know, I haven't experienced any. I keep hoping people are going to be jealous of me. I keep working for the day when people will be jealous of me.
Tell me, Joe Bologna, at the moment, he's doing a film?
In Arizona.
In Arizona. With whom? What is he doing?
You know, I didn't even ask.
You didn't ask. Is that what happens around the house?
Arizonians.
Do you know?
Sometimes I could just come home with my parents. They're in New York. They'll be back tomorrow. It's like they go out for the day, they go out for a month.
So the house, so everyone's busy around the house. You're studying acting, are you?
Yes.
Who do you study with?
Lee Strasberg Theater.
The Institute,
Yes.
Very nice.
The other day we went to Brown University because he had an interview to get in. And from then I went to New York to do the book party of My Life on a Diet. And Joe went to Arizona to do this Disney movie. Oh, I know. It's called Not Quite Human.
Not Quite Human. Who's in it? Do you know?
I didn't.
You don't need to even ask. I see.
Isn't that terrible?
That's all right. I want to know, how many children do you have?
Just Gabriel. But Gabriel is like 10 because he's the best of 10.
She's like 30.
Is it difficult to be the only son? I mean, the only child?
No, it's great. You get all the attention. You know, all these people say, you know, how they would love to have, you know, many kin, many brothers, sisters. Like I said when I was young, when you grow up, you say, hey, you know, now I realize that if I had another kid, I don't know what, all this attention, you know, you need because you're one kid. You know, you don't have that other person. You end up playing with yourself in the corner and you're talking to yourself. You know, when they start talking back, that's a different story.
Tell me about your television show you do at Beverly Hills High. You are one of the...
Yeah, well, I'm one of the writers on the show and actors. It's like Saturday Night Live. It's an acting show. We stay up. We don't do our homework some nights, and we stay up all night. We argue, we get in fights with each other. No, put this in the scene, everything. We feel like we're grown-up people, and then we put it on. It's great. We put
you
it on
sang
camera.
and dance?
Yeah.
You do?
I've been in a lot of plays in our school. Peter Pan, I played Captain Hook and things like that. I love to sing.
And he plays the trumpet.
You must be very proud of him.
I am. I really am, because
very...
he's a wonderful boy. I'm really lucky.
He looks like a nice kid, yes.
Yes, I'm very lucky.
Renee Taylor.
And I have a good husband.
You do. You're happy.
I have good friends. I have everything.
How long have you been married? How many years now?
21 or 21? I'm asking
21.
him. I don't
even know.
Tell me, do you do your own cooking? Do you cook Italian? Because you're not Italian.
I cooked once. When we were first married, I cooked once, and Joe graded me. He said, I give you a C+ on the carrots, a D- on the string beans, an A- on the ham. I said, forget
and the ravioli
it.
he threw out the window.
He likes Italian food.
Oh, yeah, and his mother
His
is
mother?
excellent. Josie
Yes.
Bologna is an excellent cook.
She cooks. Huh?
Excellent. So I wouldn't even bother competing with her. So I'm just, you know, the sex object.
You're,
Around the house.
Beautiful. I want to tell you, looking back over your life, Renee Taylor, do you have any regrets right now?
Any regrets? That I didn't find out the secret of being happy sooner.
Sooner.
That's the only
You seem like
regret.
you're having a good time in life right now.
I am. I'm
This is
having.
a good
This
time
is
for you.
the best year of my life. The best year of my life because I got the joke, and that really is that it is a joke, and that you create your own reality, and you have to just see it that way, and you can create whatever you want. So every morning I wake up and say, "What do you want now?" Because you can have it today. What do you want?
If you really want it, you can really
You
go
can
out
have
there.
it. My mother used to tell me that. She used to say to me, "Whatever you can imagine, you can have." And it was true, and I didn't know how easy it was. I mean, with Gabe, I see how easy it is. The first time he went out on stage, it was just there for him. He just trusted. He trusted the love. He trusted that he loved the audience,
Yes.
and that the audience loved him, and it was there, and it happens.
And our day, when you grew up, it wasn't that way.
No,
was it?
we were scared. We were nervous.
The
you know.
clubs, drinking
Yeah,
clubs.
and we had all these expressions about dying and bombing, you know,
yeah.
and the agents would say, bring me back a good report. That was the whole thing, to get a good report, working the mountains. And I used to work the mountains in the Catskills, and my agent would be outside in the car. I would do 3 shows a night. I would get in one and then get in another
other,
car
go
and
to-
another.
yep.
And I remember one night, he said, you got to bring me back a good report or you wouldn't work again. So I had a whole new act, and I had new music, I had everything, and I walked out on stage and said, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And from the audience, I heard someone say, "Aye, English." So I knew I was going to bomb.
Who's the agent? Irving Chernoff? Do you remember Irving Chernoff? Used to
Bob
book-
Shortoff
Bob Shor-
was my agent. Do you believe that? As a matter of fact, there isn't one manager in Hollywood that wasn't at one time or another my manager or my agent.
Really?
Bullet Sturgum, remember him?
Of course.
Ray Katz.
Yeah, there's some wonderful stories about Bullock Sturgeon. Tell us one of the stories. I can't remember. There's some wonderful stories about him on the phone or something. I cannot. Do you remember any of the stories about him?
Yeah, but I can.
And he used to book me with the belly dancers. I used to work
really?
yeah, I used to work with a belly dancer, and I was a comic, and I did my 3 shows, and then come back.
I can tell you a funny story about it. One agent that said, we really want you to sign with us because everybody who's here is like a member of the family, and we want you to be a member of our family. And he was almost crying when he was talking to me. And just then the phone rang, and he said, oh, hold on a second, and he yelled out in the office, is Hedy Lamarr with us? He didn't even know whether Hedy Lamarr was a client.
That's funny.
And what about the story of Eddie Bondi, that he booked somebody, and
That's
then he
right.
found out they were dead?
Dead, right, I
And
remember
he was
that.
very
That's-
upset. He
that's
said, how could he be dead? I got him more money than he ever got.
There's something very interesting in this book. You were telling me before the show. What was you were
Yeah, let me
pointing
see
out?
this.
Show
It's
me.
really funny.
You show me.
It says it's the dedication part. It goes,
Yeah.
to Phil Studs for encouraging me to write this book. And then it says, and to Joseph Bologna, my boyfriend, for loving my talent and not being jealous, I dedicated this book to Phil Studs. And at the end, where is it? Oh, and then it says at the end, it says, you know, Gene Wilde, Burt Reynolds, Shirley Winters, all these people who said stuff about her book. And at the end, she says, for Joe Bologna, I'm jealous of Phil Studs.
I am jealous.
Gene Wilder, tell me, is he having difficulty times right now? What's happening with his life? Love that man,
Gene?
Wilder.
Oh, well, he's so
I-
happily married with Gilda.
Gilda, yeah. What
Yeah.
kind of woman is Gilda, darling?
Oh, she is great. And they're just madly in love.
Yeah, and she's very ill, I understand. Is that true?
I hear she's going to
She-
be good now.
She's going to be good?
Yeah.
Gee, that's
be
nice,
good.
Renee. You think positive. I like that. She thinks positive. Is that what's happening around that house? Positive thinking?
Yeah, my
around-
dad's negative, my mom's positive. Together, I'm neutral.
You're neutral.
I'm in the middle. I'm the
What's some of the
neutrons.
funniest things happening around the Bologna's house? Come on, tell us something.
One time I hear this massive screaming. I come home, right? I get after my test. I come home and I'm like, Oh my God, I hear this screaming in the house. Oh my God, I don't know what is, furniture's flying, I don't know what it was. I walk in, my parents are in the bathroom, and I say, what's wrong, what's wrong? And my mom says, Joe wants to paint the tiles in the bathroom floor blue.
Does he do a lot of writing all the time?
Joe?
Joe, yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of writing. He just finished a book, too.
He did? What is it? Yeah? Can you tell us?
It's a action, adventure, comedy, fantasy.
Do you want to direct?
Oh, yes,
You
I
want to?
do.
Is that
I
what you
want
want
to
to do?
direct. I've been offered a lot of movies to direct.
You have, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to direct. I want to act. I want to write.
There's a lot of things out there for Miss Renee Taylor and Joe Bologna and his and the whole family. Where'd you get the name? I like this name.
Gabriel.
Yeah, where'd you get that name?
The angel Gabriel that blew his horn, and
The name came that way?
yeah.
That's nice. Who thought of it, Joe or you?
No, me.
I see.
I said he looks like an angel.
That's...
We'll call him Gabriel.
You seem very, very happy, Renee Taylor. I'm so happy that you came by today and talked to me
thank
because
you.
I'm very pleased to meet your son, and you look lovely, darling. You really do.
Oh, thank you.
And
Next time
so
we'll have
what
to
is
bring
new-
my boyfriend, Joey.
Joey, what is new and exciting in your life at the moment right now? It's coming up. Anything at all? you
Well,
say?
I've been cross-country with the book,
Right.
My Life on
Yep.
a Diet.
Right.
And I've been speaking to different diet clubs, and I've been helping, I'm going to be speaking at the, for the Maple Center.
You help
know?
a lot of people, don't you? There's
Yeah, I
something-
do.
Yeah, like,
I go to Overeaters Anonymous, and I belong to a group of people who, over 100 pounds, are overweight. And can you give a number to call if people need help?
not really, because, not...
They'll get in touch
but,
with you.
Yeah, they can get, yeah.
Okay, I
What
have
is
a
it called?
group. It's a group for Overeaters Anonymous,
Overeaters,
people who have,
Yeah, I
who
understand.
need to lose over 100 pounds,
They know
or
where-
who have lost 100 pounds.
Uh-huh.
And so I help them on the diet. And people call me from all over the world.
How big were you?
I was a size 18, and when I went from an 18 to a 4, somebody the other night called me from New Hampshire, and I said, how did you get my phone number? And she said, I just got it from information. She said, I want to know whether I should have butter on my potato or not.
Oh, that's sweet. You're in the phone book?
Yeah.
You keep yourself? That's interesting to keep your name in the phone book, because anyone can call you from any... Rudy Valley did that same thing. Rudy Valley. I had Rudy Valley on my show, and he did the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
You could call him?
You can call him. No address, but just the phone number.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. California, New York. You're not missing New York at all, Renee Taylor. Tell me.
I get back there about once every 10 days.
So that's why you're not missing it, because you're going back and forth.
Yeah.
Plays, Broadway, would you like to do it?
Yes, definitely. I mean, the closest I've got to Broadway is when my dad would put me behind the radiator during the play, It Had to Be You, and I'd sit there and watch the scene while eating my lunch. But I'd love to do, and that's my favorite stage, more than anything, movies, anything.
Well,
You like that? I never knew that you liked the stage more than
see, you found
anything.
something that you didn't know.
You just find out that with my dad's movie, I'm finding stuff about you.
You
learn something
didn't
every
know
day.
either.
You'd be surprised.
What do you mean, you just heard that Daddy was doing a movie now for the first time?
That's right, you didn't know.